Welcome to the Orthodontic Pearls podcast, where we share tips and tricks to better your clinic, business, and life. Today we have our honored guest, Dr. Chris Feldman, as we discuss his incredible team culture, his commitment to excellence, and mindset behind his relentless personal growth. And now your hosts of the podcast, Drs. Chris Teeters, Brian Anderson, and Andy Sarpadar.
Welcome back to the podcast. Today's episode is one I've been looking forward to for a long time. We're joined by one of my closest friends in the profession, Dr. Chris Feldman of New Iberia and Youngsville, Louisiana. Chris and I go way back. We actually met at the first MKS meeting in Dallas, both of us brand new to ownership. Since then, we've grown together, leaned on each other, and watched each other build practices and lives we are proud of. Chris is known for his incredible team culture, commitment to excellence, and relentless personal growth. From CrossFit to Jiu-Jitsu to lockdown Peloton battles that nearly ended our friendship, he's also a husband, a father, and one of the most thoughtful leaders I know.
Chris isn't just intense, he's intentional. He's someone who lives the message behind books like Can't Hurt Me and The Comfort Crisis. We'll dig into those today and talk about mindset, discomfort, and staying grounded while chasing growth.
Good to have you with us today, Chris. So I want to start at the beginning. So for our listeners who don't know you, take us back to your journey into orthodontics. Where did you go to school? What led you to start your practice? And what was year one like?
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me. Happy to be here. I know I've been kind of out of the game for a little while, but happy to be here spending today with you guys. My story is probably much like a lot of other orthodontists. I knew that I wanted to be an orthodontist when I was 12 years old. My dad told me, okay, you want it, you better go get it. You better work for it. And so I started working for it. Much like a lot of us, I was top or near the top of my class for every level, middle school, high school. Went to college. They said it was going to get harder, and it did, but, still had my time to have fun. And then dental school came around, and I went in there kind of cocky and realized there's people that are a lot smarter than me. And a lot of them were in my class and want to be orthodontists as well. So that was kind of a tough time for me. Just, it was hard on my confidence and self-esteem because for the first time in my life, I was looked at as an underdog, right? Mm-hmm. I knew I wanted to be an orthodontist. Everybody knows I wanted to be an orthodontist. So it's you got to compete. And I wasn't top of my class. I was 15th out of 60. I always believed in myself. I didn't think I was an underdog. I just, I was 15th out of 60. And as we all know, they don't want to see that on your resume when you're applying to ortho school.
No.
Luckily, I got into a fellowship at Jacksonville University after applying to 30-something schools. And from the fellowship, I got into residency there and got a great education there. I'm very proud of it. It was very clinical based. We saw a lot of patients, and it was cool because at that point I knew I was going to open my own office. And, Jacksonville was a private school. So the more patients you saw, the better for them, right? So I kind of ran it as I would my own private practice. I hustled, saw as many patients as I could. And I still kind of had that chip on my shoulder from being the quote unquote underdog getting into ortho school. So I wanted to prove to myself and to others that I belong there and I deserve it and that I can be a good orthodontist. And, look, call it confidence, call it cockiness, whatever. But we all know
you cocky, Chris?
Well, depends who you ask. But we all know that once you're on the other side, once you got your office, nobody's coming in there asking what rank you were in dental school or if you won the Fauchard scholarship or, how late you stayed up studying to cram for a test. They know how you make patients feel. They know if your work is good. The dentists know if you communicate well with them. So that's what counts. So, I sadly see a lot of colleagues that they've been number one all their life and they get out and then they're in for a rude awakening. Whereas for me, I think the hard part for me had already been passed. It was getting into ortho school and the things that come more natural to me happened after that when I had to open my own practice and socialize and all that stuff I had been doing my entire life. And having my parents as an example, both very social, outgoing, friendly people who just always taught that you treat, it doesn't matter whether it's your doctor or the janitor or whoever, you treat them with respect and dignity. And so that kind of carried on in me, hopefully. And it's cool because when you look at my office, you will see every walk of life. You will see the richest of the rich, the poorest of the poor, different races, different ethnicities, religions, sexualities, all of that. And they all hopefully feel very welcome and have a great experience in my office. So
Well, I think
I went on a tangent there, as I'm known to do. But
well, I think you brought up a couple of interesting points, and one of those is that sometimes the skills that get you there aren't the skills that carry you to the next level. Like you mentioned, there's some of the big entrepreneurs will phrase it like the A student does really well in school, and they learn exactly how to work well for someone else, for the B or C students. And this isn't exactly that. I mean, you have to be an A student all the way through to get into orthodontics. But on the other hand, like if that's all you have, if you're just an academic, the business world is something that you could struggle in.
Yeah, IQ is not directly proportional to success, right? They say that after, I think, I forget the number, it might be 140 or something, like after that certain number, additional IQ points don't get you anywhere. And in fact, they see a lot of the people with the highest IQs do end up struggling in the real world. So I guess I'm thankful I'm not really that smart, eh?
140 IQ, man, that's it? Dang.
I could be misquoting the number. I think I read that in Outliers. Great book.
Yeah.
We see it time and time again where EQ is much higher predictor of success than IQ. After a certain point, obviously you need to have some of that intelligence, but once that's passed, like you said, your emotional intelligence, ability to connect with people is really the key. And I think you're a perfect example of that, Chris. You have one of the highest EQs I know. Make everyone feel at home and want to be better. So just kudos to you on that.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
One thing I wanted to mention, Chris, one thing that stood out to me in telling your story was you said that your dad, when you identified at the age of 12 that you wanted to be an orthodontist, your dad then set a realistic expectation. And he cultivated within you something I'm sure he had already been cultivating for years. He was trying to give you the tools to handle the real world. So he says to you, hey, you better go work hard, and you go get it. And it sounds like you do that when you need to, right? So to me, I think, and you also mentioned your parents, how they're really social, how they taught you good manners. They taught you respect. They taught you to say hi to the janitor and treat the janitor just as you would treat anybody else. So they taught you to have humility and see that we're really all the same.
Yes.
At our base structure, we're really all the same. And we have to form an ego. So we have to say, me, hey, I'm Brian, you're Chris, right? And we have to, but then start to develop ideas of what matters more. So what your parents were telling you is, maybe something like, on the surface of things, they might look a certain way, but in reality, we're all the same. Therefore, in you respecting everyone as an equal, that's real. Your parents are saying, in reality, we're all the same. And it's not based on socioeconomic status, etc.
I'm very, very fortunate for my upbringing. I'm very grateful for them, and it's weird because now me being a parent myself, I parent a little bit different than my parents. Like, man, my dad, he's a military guy, and I always knew that he loved me. He never, there was never reason to question that. He was there for me. You want to say the word relentless. When people use that associated with me, I appreciate that because my dad, his parenting was relentless. He wasn't super duper affectionate, wasn't real huggy and telling me that he loves me every day, but man, he showed it. And he showed it. The biggest way that I now understand is that he showed it by, he wasn't there to be my friend. He was there to be my dad. And he was there, when I made straight A's, instead of buying me a big gift, he was like, That's what you're supposed to do. You want success and stuff. Okay, you're smart. You're capable. That's what you're supposed to do. You know. And
There
when I
you go.
messed up, he let me know he was very hard on me. And I know now, looking back, there was times when I resented him, and I know that probably hurt him. Um, but he didn't mind that because he knew that he was doing the right thing as a parent, and he knew that eventually it would pay off. So it would be
Yeah.
selfish of him to just give me what I want, make me happy in the moment. Instead, he did what he had to do, and that's hard for me because I'm a very affectionate guy. I mean, y'all know, y'all see my emotions sometimes, and I love my children more than anything. So I always have to kind of battle between like go hard, be very strict while still showing them that I love them. Because, and we could probably talk about this later, but man, kids there these days, there's a lot of spoiled kids that are getting ruined by parents that absolutely love them. They just love them so much, and they don't know the line between being a parent and being a friend. And that's something I struggle with. We all do.
Well, so this actually segues really well into what I want to discuss next. I think you raised some really great points that I think are valuable for all of us as parents and for us as individuals. And they touch on balance. How do we achieve the proper balance? How do we exercise this side of ourselves while also hanging on to ourselves and not feeling like we have to lose that side of ourselves, that we feel are opposed or opposite, or that we can't somehow embody both personas or both energies? Like, how do we balance discipline with love? And I think you have to know when to step into those roles by healing your wounded self. I think if your wounded self is the one driving the bus, so to speak, then you're not going to be able to achieve balance, because you're going to sabotage yourself, and you're going to split things into black and white, this or that, the dualistic mind. So I think balance is just so important. And, speaking of your dad, you mentioned that he wasn't really affectionate. So maybe he was more on the discipline side, but maybe he showed love by quality time. Maybe he showed love by attention. Maybe he showed love by investment in you, in terms of, rooting you, along the way, or pushing you forward, or inspiring you, or challenging you. All of these things. So, like, you knew he loved you. You knew it.
Oh yeah, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention my mom, because my mom is the smartest person I know and the hardest worker I know. She does not stop, and she loves. She was all about love.
So, Chris, I'm really impressed hearing about your upbringing and the qualities that you got from your mom and your dad. And to me, one thing that I've always been really intrigued about regarding your leadership style is how you seem to be able to balance structure, like having systems in place and having, developing like a culture of respect, with playfulness and being social and just like being lively and energetic. And you had mentioned that when you were growing up, you saw your parents, were very convivial. They were, out there socializing with people. And so you developed this EQ, emotional intelligence kind of a thing. So so one of the things I most admire about you is, your team. I know I remember hearing at some point that you had like the lowest turnover for such a long time. All your original hires stayed with you for a long time. That you have this, I would say, this aura of being a great leader and having a team that's loyal and enjoys working for you. What do you ascribe that to?
A little bit of skill, a little bit of luck. Honestly, like when I first opened, I had no patience and no business experience. But having no patience kind of allowed me the time to develop uh, those systems and figure out how I wanted to run my business. And I always knew I wanted to lead with the heart, and just those connections I had made previously in my life ended up paying off. Both of my first two team members one was a friend from middle school. That's Amy, who's our office manager, who's still with us today. And the second was Mallory. She was dating one of my old friend's brothers. And I ended up hiring both of those. And that's how we started with us three. I think that there was a lot of luck involved there because they ended up being two of the most amazing people that I've ever met in my life. And like together, my name's on the office, but what the success of our team is, it's a we thing. It's not just from my leadership; it's from the culture that they created as well. And so every next hire, they have to fit that mold. They have to be down with our culture and how it is. And honestly, I have not hired anybody in a while. The team kind of handles that. As I learned early on, it's more about if they want them to be there than if I want them to be there. And they're not. Look, if somebody's not ready to hustle, it's not going to fly. So I don't have to worry about that. If somebody's not going to be kind and friendly, like that's not going to fly because I've just kind of preached from day one, like this is our team. It's us. It's not me. And but the better I do, the better you're going to do. And I've proven that to them. I told them I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to tell you what to expect. And as long as I'm doing better, you're going to do better too. And honestly, today, every time I think that we have it good, like they just continue to prove to me that it can be better. I'm so proud of our team. Everybody's bought in. They handle business when I'm not there. If it's an admin day, I have no concerns. I know they're going to handle it well. And I try to lead softly. It's almost like they've formed this very tight sisterhood. They are each other's best friends. And I'm kind of like their crazy big brother, and I say big brother because I am the oldest one in the office. But they know, that we're friends. They respect me as a boss. But they know we're friends too. They don't have to tiptoe around me. And at the same time, I'm not leading with an iron fist. I don't expect things to be perfect. I expect things to be really, really good. And they know that. And they know when they're messing up. And I know when I'm messing up. It's a two-way street. So when we have that respect is what creates the magic.
Haven't signed up for MOPC yet? Listen to this testimonial from the Braces guy, Dr. Grant Collins, on why you won't want to miss our 7th annual conference this October.
Oh man, if you don't come to the Mother of Pearls, you're going to miss an opportunity to connect with so many great people, learn a ton of great stuff. It's a very intimate, amazing session that we get to have with each other. I hope everybody gets to come out next year. It's going to be amazing next year too. We've got the educational side with lots of great speakers, great information, but also a fun side that is like coming together with friends, hanging out, doing fun things together. Not only in the conferences, but outside too. We're talking to each other about everything all the time. You really connect with people. It does feel like community. As far as the party goes, it's fun to get together. Getting an opportunity to play with the band Relapse is super fun. I mean, they bring such great energy. We all come and have a great time. I feel like a lot of the offices that work in orthodontics work really hard. So we come to learn, but we also come to have fun and connect with each other too. Next year's gonna be great. I mean, they're gonna have this in NASA, gonna have this in Florida. Like, I'm looking forward to it. I wouldn't miss that one at all. It really is a very unique conference. It's quickly growing to one of my favorites.
Register today as seats are limited and we sell out every year. Learn more by visiting orthodonticpearls.org on your computer or smartphone today.
Well, I just want to say, I'm noticing a few things so I'm hearing you talk, and I think it's important for us to try to boil things down so like the average listener can at least try to apply these things, because nobody can be you, right? Nobody can be Chris Feldman. Like, you are your own unique thing. So what can people learn, and how can people maybe try to be more this way? What I'm hearing is you're transparent with your employees and you're fair. And you said you're the boss, but you're also their friend. Normally people can't hold that line very well. It's very tricky, but I think
It's tough.
But it seems to me that you have enough discipline that you're like, hey, you're going to be straight with them when they screw up. And you're going to hold people accountable. And you're also going to be able to forgive if they take accountability. If there's actual accountability. And you said, because, hey, you said something about, hey, I do this too, or whatever. So if you can acknowledge your own humanity to your team, hey,
Right.
I'm not perfect. I'm not above the rules, but at the same time, I expect a lot, but I also realize, look, we're human, right? It
Right.
seems like you've struck a great balance there that people can maybe, hopefully they can't be you, but maybe they can try and embody those qualities more.
And here's kind of an example. I just think, we're the system we go through to get to where we're at, we're proud of that. We have to work hard and we have to develop that boss mentality. We have to develop that, like, okay, this is on me. This is my business. I have to open it up.
There you
I
go.
have to be in charge. And we develop that boss mentality. And look, let's be honest, it's fun making your own rules. It's fun making your own systems and schedule and not having to quote unquote answer to anybody. But if you're going through a lot of turnover, you're going to realize, like, well, maybe you do have to answer to somebody, because we answer to our patients and our team, whether we like it or not.
Exactly.
We get to make the rules, but if the rules don't vibe with reality, then it's
There
not
you
going to
go.
last. And I
There
can
you go.
remember, I can remember a big mistake I made. Luckily, I made it early on, and it wasn't because I didn't care correctly. It was because I had a moment of, I guess, not seeing it from the other perspective. It was real early on in my career. Mallory, our treatment coordinator, she knew that I wanted to help people and this and that. And I guess I was having a tough day. And she was like, man, she's like, Dr. Feldman, this patient, they need a mouth guard, but I really don't think they can afford it. And I guess didn't mean to be mean, but I was like, well, what do you want? I mean, you want to pay for it with your check? And like, you know, it was my way of saying, like, we can't give it away for free. And honestly,
Right.
I was one who taught her not taught her, she always had a great heart, but like, I was one who showed her, like, how Feldman Orthodontics, we want to be generous when we can and stuff. So that's why she was doing it. She was buying into that culture. And, she said something to me that I'll never forget. I'm so glad she did. She later on that day, she pulled me aside. She said, Dr. Feldman, I love working here, but that really hurt my feelings, and I don't ever want you to talk to me like that again. And I was kind of taken aback because, like, I was very proud of her for saying that.
Yeah, good for you, man.
Yeah. So that, like, kind of, like, it made me think about it from her perspective, because as intimidated as I am sometimes being the boss, and, now we have 13 team members and one of them's my wife. Well, she's the 14th, but, so when I have to correct things or tell people what to do, like, that's intimidating.
Yeah.
But as intimidating as it can be for us, think about it from the other side. Like, it's hard for them to take orders and to be told what to do. Like, we're all human beings, and
no one likes that.
when you're an employee, you have to have that humility. You have to,
And they can't talk
abide by
back,
those
right?
rules.
Yeah.
Right. But like, at the same time, that's a very hard position to be in. So I was proud of her for speaking up, because that's something that made an impression on me.
Well, and you know what? Like, I think the two important things there are, number one, she was patient. Like, she wasn't reactive. She didn't do it in the
Absolutely.
moment. She was patient, so she could hold the tension within herself. She had enough maturity and enough inner strength that she didn't need to just react right in the moment. She could hold the
Absolutely.
tension, and she could bring it to you in dignity. And because you're the kind of guy you are, that you actually care about her personal development, rather than you taking it as an affront, because you have enough ego fulfillment already. You're not taking it as some sort of wound that means you're
Right.
bad. You're just taking it as, God, I'm so proud of you.
Right.
Look at you. You did this. You brought this to me in this way, in a way that's mature. You brought it to me in a way that was controlled. You brought it to me in a way that's dignified, not just reactive.
Absolutely.
Right.
And had I taken a more rookie boss perspective and been like, it's my office, it hurts your feelings, who cares? Get over it. Had I
Yep.
done that, there's a good chance I would have lost somebody who was transformative in my business and who is
There you
still with
go.
us and, like, bleeds our culture, So it's, it was a lucky thing, because I could have maybe spouted off and said the wrong thing, but I'm glad that I took a step back and thought about it. And, it's just something. Sometimes if people tell me something in a hard, stiff tone, I'll get over it. It'll hurt my feelings for a second, but I'll get over it. But, like, when you're the boss at work and if you push your weight around too much, like, that can leave emotional scars on people that's really not going to have them buy into what you're selling. So I'm just always super duper careful. Like, another thing I've learned, like, we live I'm kind of the old guy around, personally. If I mess up, I'd rather somebody tell me right away, don't do that. You messed up. But like, you
Yeah.
can't do that with assistants and team members these days because it doesn't empower them. It disempowers them. Like if somebody makes a mistake during an arch wire adjustment and it's something I really don't want them to do, or something, or even it wasn't a mistake, it was just something they weren't following the rules. If I correct them right there, number one, that disempowers them in front of the patient, in front of other team members. It's going to make them become defensive. Right. And look, if we're busy, I don't have time to go in the back office and say, hey, come talk. Let's talk about this. There's patients waiting for us.
Yeah.
So what I'll do, and I asked them before, hey guys, how do you want me to correct you when I see something that really needs to be done differently? And they said, well, just text us. And that's not my style, but like that, it works. So if somebody makes a mistake, I'll text them later and be like, hey, Sarah, we don't have a Sarah that works for us, but hey, Sarah, look, with this patient, you said this, and I think you should speak to him more like this, or you tied in this bracket wrong, should have still tied that, whatever it needs to be. This way, number one, it lets them know that I do want them to do better, but number two, it lets them know that I'm not trying to embarrass them. Yeah. And like whether like we could be like, oh, if they can't take it, oh well. Well, okay, cool. If you're gonna have that hard line, you're gonna lose some good team members, whether you like it or not.
Chris, you've touched on a lot of communication stuff that I think is worth summarizing here. One of the things is how you are perceived, and that is contextual. As the boss, like for me, for example, I don't consider myself a very intimidating guy. Just in general,
not at all.
All right, whatever. Anyway, we all get it. At any rate.
Oh, I shook him. Sorry, yeah. Andy. Don't get intimidated.
At any rate, in front of our employees, like I do come off as intimidating again, because it's a contextual thing. Like I have a certain authority over their livelihood, over their job, over their team culture. And so I have to be really wary of the way that I'm encoding the messages that I send to them. So whereas like with you guys, I can take a firmer tone because obviously you have no intimidation factor here. In front of my employees, I have to take a softer tone and be very hyper vigilant about the words I'm using. And it's good to be direct, but also package that message in a way that is received the way you want it to be received. I like what you said about asking them, how do you like to get your feedback? Because there is this tension between providing immediate feedback, which is important. This was something Cole Johnson used to lecture about, how you have to give immediate feedback, because if you wait a few days and give them the feedback, they've forgotten about everything. And now you're just kind of badgering them, or you're being mean. But there's a time and a place for it too. I can't give that immediate feedback right in front of a patient and completely undermine their credibility in front of that patient.
Right. It makes logical sense to do that, but in my world, it just doesn't work. And I know there's different ways to do it, but this is just kind of how I do. One of the best compliments the team member ever gave me. One of them, they were all going out on a party bus for one of them's birthday, and they invited me, and I would have went, but I had prior plans. But I was like, y'all don't want me out there. Y'all don't want to be partying with your boss and stuff. And she was like, you're not a normal boss. You could come. Yeah. And I was like, I'll take that. I like that because I want them to be able to be themselves around me. If you can't be yourself around somebody, God, that's not a way to live, and it's not a way to work.
Let me ask you this, Chris, because I believe in that very strongly. I've said that on the show before, that you have to be authentic. And I think that the key is being the best version of your authentic self. I mean, absolutely. I'm not going to there's certain things that I would do with you guys that I would not do in front of my team.
Absolutely.
But on the other hand, I can't just be this fake version or pretend to be someone that I'm not, right. So there's a balance there, of course.
Right. My team is only females, but I can tell you, I treat them how I would any female, which is with hopefully the utmost respect. But I say anything around them that I would to any other female. Obviously I try to be a gentleman, and I'll say different things around my buddies. But for the most part, I treat them like friends that are girls. because that's what they are to me. They are friends and they are sisters to me. I genuinely love every one of them. And part of my purpose, which I never expected it to be, is I want to work hard for them.
Yeah.
You know, luckily business has gone really well, and you know, if business slows down tremendously, I would still be okay. You know, I've saved well, I've invested well. I feel like I feel like I'm hopefully set. But like what really keeps me pushing hard is that like I got a team of 13 people that like I get to play the success of my office plays a big role in their life.
Yeah.
And what might not seem like a ton to me could be like a life altering amount of money to them. And I'm fighting for that. Like I don't want to brag about the starts I get or the money I make anymore. There was a era of my practice that I did want to be able to be proud of that. But now what really motivates me and pushes me, like, I want to pay them more, but I don't want to just give it to them. It's not, I always tell them, it ain't given. This is earned. I can pay them a good amount because maybe there's 13 of you guys doing what a lot of offices take 18 or 19 to do, because you hustle at the right time, because we're all smart. We work together. We treatment plan efficiently. So it's not me being generous. I'm still staying within that 20% payroll, 21% that they recommend, the consultants recommend.
Yeah.
But per team member, it can be a good bit higher than that position in average offices, I guess, because of the hustle. So
I think that's,
you know, and it's just
sense. It's a win-win right there.
When I see them get a new car or go on a vacation or do something nice, like I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. Like that's that, like that. I love that for them. I want them to do all the cool stuff I get to do, you know, as much as possible.
Well, Chris, I think that's a big part of why you have the team that you do and why you have the culture you do, is because it's obvious that you genuinely care about people, and you know your goals incorporate their success as your success. And I think that is very much a two-way street, and we see it in your practice. So before we move on to our next
it's not selfless. And I just want to say this isn't selfless. Like there's tons of data behind it. Turnover is expensive.
Yes.
Turnover is way more expensive than that extra $1, $2, $3, $4 an hour, whatever you're talking bonuses. Turnover is way more expensive than you might think.
Emotionally too.
Absolutely. That will burn you out for sure.
Hey Pearlers, check out this testimonial from Dr. Jacob Koch, a first-time attendee, on his experience at the MOPC and why you won't want to miss this year's MOPC at the Kennedy Space Center.
You're going to miss interacting with some amazing orthodontists, amazing team members, and amazing great vendors. You're going to miss experiencing just conversations outside of the lectures are really enlightening. I just had a great time. I actually have gone to a lot of vendor meetings that were put on with the product, and it was too much like showcasing perfect, pretty cases. I'm not showing the real world. And so a meeting like this, it shows the real world. It's not a sales pitch. The company showing you all their best results and hiding all the garbage behind the scenes. It's just real. It's real. That's how I can describe it. It's like a real meeting where there's real people sharing real ideas and real experiences. I like genuine. I like when things are genuine and it's put on by very genuine people who genuinely want to make an amazing experience. So that's what makes it different. I've actually always wanted to come. This is the first time I've come, and I'm thinking, why the heck did I not come before? Because it's so many people that are like-minded like me. So it's been great to connect with them and connect and grow and learn and improve not just our practice, but our lives and everything we do. So I'm loving it.
Be sure to log on to orthodonticpearls.org today to register for one of our last remaining seats at the Mother of Pearls Conference this October 10th through 11th at the Kennedy Space Center. Register at orthodonticpearls.org today.
Chris, I want to talk to you a little bit about fitness here. So you and I had that epic Peloton rivalry during lockdown. I remember I came out to visit you. Okay, I was checking out your practice. We went to New Orleans afterwards, did your famous food tour, which was one of the best experiences I've had, certainly in New Orleans. And, during that time, I very casually shattered the highest output that you had put on that Peloton of yours. And I thought for sure my dominance was secured. Yeah. Then several months later, you send me this text and you had miraculously beaten my score. And I'm thinking, I wasn't even really trying that hard. That was just a late night workout for me. So I'm like, all right, this guy, he's getting a little big for his britches. I'm just going to crush his spirit. So I got on there and I gave a 90% effort. I went hard on that thing and then beat you by 100 points or something. I'm like, yeah, that'll shut him up. Well, no, very soon after that, you send me another photo and you had beaten that score. And I'm like, what is this guy doing? This, of course, started happening coincidentally right around the COVID era lockdown. So we had nothing better to do than just sit on our Pelotons all day. But we got into this back and forth. This went into Ortho Health Tribe and on the Facebook forums. Long and short of it is, you had beaten me in 2 out of 3 categories, 2 out of 3 time categories, albeit by a razor thin margin. Okay. But at that point, the thought of doing another max effort to try to beat that it just made me want to cry. I'd put so much into this bike.
Well,
so, I learned from this, you never bet against Chris Feldman. So, I have a few questions here for you. So, about that whole experience. First and foremost, how did you cheat at Peloton?
That was hard work. And COVID lockdown. You awakened a fire in me, Andy. I don't know. I saw that. I had just been casually riding my Peloton before that. And, I was like, man, Andy's good. Let me try to do that. And so I started trying, and then my scores would get better and better. And so I figured I'd add some smack talk into it. And you were a great competitor.
You definitely laid the smack talk down too.
But it was fun. It was fun seeing you beat me, and then I beat you, and then you beat me. And look, there's people way better than us out there.
Sure.
But look, that Peloton lied to me, because I got to the point where at any Peloton workout I would do, I was top 1%. I thought I was a good biker.
Yeah.
And then I got a real bike.
Yeah.
And I realized I was not good at biking. I could hold 25 miles an hour on a Peloton for an hour. And on a real bike, 17 miles an hour was hard. I found that the Peloton allowed you to get up out the saddle and use your endurance more, which I would say my endurance is really good. But my leg strength is not really good. And so the real bike, you really need to have some good leg strength. And so, yeah, that was cool while it lasted, but I'm on to different things. But I'm glad I'm glad you relented and said you didn't want no more. Because
I bet you were as relieved as I was.
I was going to let the big dog keep eating, bro. I was ready to keep on up in the game.
Well, that's a perfect segue into what we wanted to talk about with your passion and your mindset with this kind of stuff. Because, I'll be honest, Andy and I had a little sidebar when you did your first marathon and you did it cold turkey. We're like, Chris Feldman, he's strong, but he's going to die. You can't do a marathon cold turkey. It's impossible. And then we saw your feet as you're going through it, and we're like, oh my God, he did it cold turkey. So that takes an extraordinary mindset.
Well, it wasn't quite cold turkey. It was without proper training, right? That's again, that's a big gray area. What do you consider proper training?
It wasn't a gray area. The stipulations, me and my friends made a drunken bet one night that I couldn't do it. And the rules were that I couldn't never run more than 13 miles in training, and I could only run once a week. So I did prepare as much as I could within those rules for about 2 or 3 months. Okay. So I wasn't totally unprepared, and I always had a little endurance background.
Sure.
But I didn't know about nutrition and proper hydration. That last few miles of that race almost killed me. I was locking up and hurting really bad, but it did ignite a love for running in me, and I've gained a passion for running. I could go more into that, but that would be a huge tangent. I was gearing up to try to qualify for the Boston Marathon last year, and I got a stress fracture in my shin that 8 months later, I'm still not 100% recovered. It's been a real pain. And, but again, that kind of opened up new doors to me. That's
sure.
Since I couldn't run as much as I wanted to lately, I've been swimming, I've been rowing, Stairmaster. I've been doing a whole lot of jujitsu. So I've been staying as active as I can without putting a lot of impact on my legs.
Well, you know, as you're aware, I've been big into running probably since certainly college, maybe even high school. to some extent. I mean, it was always something that I would do to condition for other sports. But like once I got out on my own and I wasn't doing sports anymore, it just became something in and of itself to stay in shape. And the runner's high is real. You know, I mean, that
absolutely.
I think I still think that is the best exercise. It makes me feel the best. Feels like I got the best workout. But you know, those stress fractures are real. And I remember there was a time in residency where the gym shuts down. There's no air conditioning, and it's at the bottom of this high-rise building. So during the summer, it became unsafe to work out there. So they shut down the gym. And I would just go running every single day for, you know, about an hour a day. I developed this issue with my knees, and I had to stop. And I realized that if I commit to this form and only this form of exercise for the rest of my life, I'm going to hit a wall with it. And I'm going to hit an age where I just physically can't do it anymore. Yeah. So I think that diversification is definitely important.
Absolutely. You know, for me, I will qualify for the Boston Marathon. I also will do an ultra 100-mile race. I've done some smaller ultras with good success. I just got to get this leg back. Like I don't want to just talk about it. I will be about it. I just have to get this right. Like it's on my list. I'm going to do it. Period.
Yeah. What developed that mindset in you, Chris? And like, what goes through your mind in like that final 2 miles where you can't do it anymore? Like what gives you that push to push beyond where most would quit?
I'm inspired by others, man. This time and time again, we learn that the human mind is capable of way more than we think. The human body is capable of way more than we think. And so I just always tell myself that, you know, I'm not an elite anything. I'm not elite at anything, really. And I'll never be an elite runner. But if you'd have told me a few years ago that I would even be thinking about a 3-hour marathon, or running a 10-hour ultra marathon race through the trails in the middle of summer in Lafayette, Louisiana, I would have thought you're crazy, you know, but changing my mindset is what changed that for me. So, you know, I think no matter who you are, you can probably do a lot more than you think.
Well, you sound a lot like David Goggins there, Chris. And I know that was a book, Can't Hurt Me. That was one that you recommended to me a little while ago. And you said that you're drawing your inspiration with people. Clearly, Goggins is one who has influenced you significantly.
And look, Goggins is he's a loose cannon. I mean, Goggins is a wild man. I don't love every aspect of how he is, but I think a lot of people can take a lot from him. Like you have to believe in yourself. Mm-hmm. Like no matter what walk of life you come from, no matter what like obstacles you have in your way, like if you give things your effort, like you can surprise yourself and other people.
Yeah.
That's just, I mean, look, that's a cliche we've heard time and time again. And it's 100% true. And I found that the more I push myself physically, the more I can do mentally as well. The more, you know, it's hard to have a bad day when you wake up at 4 a.m. and go run 10, 15 miles. It's hard to have a bad day. And look, the science, I mean, there's so much data behind what running does for your mentality, right? Yeah. For your happiness, or what any types of physical activity does. Just I read in, it might be Comfort Crisis, you know, you go out in nature for 20 minutes a day, 3 times a week without your cell phone. Yeah. It will have a positive impact on your happiness. And so for me, another thing I've been realizing, like it ain't even really about the goal. It is about the process.
Yes.
One of the hardest times in my life, actually, luckily my life's been very great and I haven't had to undergo many terrible things, but this stress fracture was very hard for me mentally because I had gotten to the point where like, all I want to do is go out every morning and do hard stuff, work hard on myself, be by myself for 2 hours a morning, just working hard. And all of a sudden that was taken from me. Like I can't run anymore. So now I have to I realized how much I was identifying myself as just somebody who wants to run. Like, and there's a lot more good things about me.
Chris, but listen to this though, dude. You were just given one other hard thing to do that you don't like to do, because you learn to like doing hard stuff like running hard, right?
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
now you're given another hard thing to deal. So you're not actually doing anything different. Now you're just doing something hard that's a different kind of hard for you, not having to
Exactly.
push. And so if you see
Exactly.
it that way, and like when I heard when you said that you got the stretch fracture, but then that's pushed you to other things, more swimming or more this or more that, like that kind of mindset where you accept the death in something. Okay, well, this is done. Okay, but then you go for like a rebirth in something else, right? But
Absolutely.
I just wanted to point those things out. I think those are important things to recognize that one key to success is always looking for the positive, or always looking for the way to turn the tragedy into something good.
Oh yeah, and look, I'm fortunate if I can call that a tragedy, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
small potatoes compared to what
It
some
is
people
small
deal with.
potatoes, but I mean, but I mean, it's a tragedy to you, and thank God, like you're in the position you are, right? And I think we can all acknowledge that,
Yeah.
individually on some level. But yeah,
And look, I just got a clean MRI a few weeks ago, so I've been slowly getting back to running slow miles and trying not to overdo it. But yeah, I'm glad that instead of sitting back and say, "Oh, stress fracture, can't run," like I learned how to swim. My
Mm-hmm.
swimming pool is 40 feet long, and so I'll go for an hour, 2 hours swimming back and forth in that little 40-foot pool.
Mhm.
Um, rowing, stairmaster, all that. But I guess, look, the point isn't for me to like I said, I'm never going to be an elite athlete, but I see so many orthodontists who get comfortable financially, but they're out of shape and they're not happy.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
it's not even about looks. I just, whoever, if anybody's listening, and they're like, I really need to get out there. I really need to do, you know, wake up early, find a time, and go do something. Go move. You can do a lot more than you think. It learn about how to ease into it. Get a doctor consultation first, but like get moving, because you can add years to your life. You can
Yeah.
add tons of happiness to your life, and not only the timing, but the quality of life. Go read "Outlive" by Peter Attia. Andy, I know
Yes.
you and I talked about that.
Yep.
There's just so much hard data. Like, we don't control everything, but damn, we can put the odds in our favor for sure. We
Mhm.
can control the odds. And it starts with just working on yourself. And like to orthodontists, I know a lot of us, we're overwhelmed sometimes with having to answer millions of questions a day. And then we have our family life. And, for me, 4 a.m. to 6:30 a.m., that's my time to be alone. I'm just with myself, in my
Mhm.
thoughts, reflecting on my life, thinking about how great the day is going to be. Um, and it's something that most of us can do. Most
Mm-hmm.
of us have no excuse. We can do it. 99.9% of us can find the time. 99.9% of us aren't that other 0.1%. There's
Yeah.
some out there that truly can't do it, but most of us can.
With that plan, are you going to bed at like 8 o'clock then? Or are you still getting like 8 hours? Or
Sleep is very important. I try to sleep
yeah.
from 9 p.m. to hopefully 4 to 4:30 a.m.
Okay.
is when I'm waking up. So I've noticed if I get 7 or more hours, I'm good to go. They
Okay.
recommend 8. I don't think that's practical for my lifestyle, but I notice
Yeah.
if I'm getting less than 7, it starts getting, I'll kind of bonk towards the end of the day.
Yeah.
But look, a lot of it starts with sign off of Netflix, put that phone down. Like,
Yes.
don't watch the next episode of The Righteous Gemstones, which is what I'm currently watching. But you got to be disciplined, but it's worth it. It's 100% worth it.
Well, I don't think it has to be an either or thing either. I mean, like I talk about how I like to watch my shows while I'm working out, so
Yes.
that actually gives me
Combine it.
motivation. I work out at night, which is kind of, whether you work out late at night or early in
That's
the morning,
weird.
it's kind of the same principle.
Yeah.
You may think so, but I just find that like I'm better. Like I'm not a morning person. That's just my chronotype. And if I work out at night, I accomplish the same thing. It's just it feels better for me. But like you said, that's my alone time. But I choose to
Right.
spend that, watching my shows, and it actually motivates me to get on there. There's nights when I come home and I'm like, I'm exhausted. I don't want to do it, but I'm like, but I kind of want to watch that next
Yeah.
episode. I'm like, well, the only way I'm watching that next episode is if I'm on the bike while I'm doing it.
Absolutely.
So,
And I like to listen to my audiobooks while I'm doing a slower run. So that's great. But I hear you said something that's kind of a soapbox thing for you. You said, I'm not a morning person. And look, as the age the age your children are now, they're very young. So you probably have a little more freedom. But later on, the nights are going to demand more of your attention.
Yeah.
So like what I found was the morning was my only time. And like, look, nobody's a morning person. Some of the best advice I got was from Anil Adikula because I quote unquote wasn't a morning person for the longest time. And in 2016, I went and visited Anil's office and he kind of preached to me about like, look, so many successful businessmen, CEOs, and happy people, they work out in the morning. And he was like, give it a shot for 2 weeks. If you hate it after that, then quit. And so I did it after 2 weeks and I was hooked.
You did that after Athens.
Yeah. I did it for about 6 months. So like Chris and I went to Greece and we had like this, like our clocks were offset, so we had jet lag, but it worked in my favor because I was like naturally waking up at 4 or 5. So I was like, okay, I'm going to work out. And it was actually, everything you say was true. Like it was great, except that like my body eventually readjusted, even though I was doing that consistently. And it was like, and I just like, I wake up in the morning, I'm just like, every day I just feel like crap.
There's no right or wrong way to do it. As long as you get moving, I think it's a positive thing.
I think so too. Exactly.
But for me, there's almost no better feeling watching the sunrise when you already finished your run.
Oh, sure.
And like you're just ready for the day.
Yeah.
I totally get it. And I'm totally beyond, I honestly, I wish I wanted it more, or I wish that it just worked that way. But what I have consistently, and this is, there's science to back this up. A chronotype is real. Like I just get my energy at night, and that's just how it works. And even if I condition myself for the mornings, it's still like I naturally just wake up at night, and morning is what it is.
I hear you.
Again, I think that the key here is like so many things is, there are ways that it works for some people, but if you're getting the foundation right, if you're getting the exercise in, do whatever you have to do to get that exercise in. If you have to go at lunch, I know people who do, you used to do 2-hour lunches. I know other people who did 2-hour lunches so they could work out in the middle of the day because that's when they're at their peak.
That's my jujitsu time.
I think right. But whatever it is, I think get the important stuff done, however it is that you need to get it done. And maybe don't stress so much about whether I'm doing it at 4 a.m. or whether I'm doing it at 11 p.m. It's like, as long as you're getting it in, just get it done.
Find a routine.
Yes.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Find a routine. But if you're one of those people that you can't find a time, well, you might be staying. I hate when people say, I don't have time.
Yeah.
Go look at your screen time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you got time to be on your screen 5 hours a day, 4 hours a day, and look, we're all guilty of that, then you got time. Just find out where that time is and how you manage it. It's a focus, and it's a focus and time management thing. That's the issue.
Combine it. Combine something you have to do with something you love to do, like watch your shows while you're on the treadmill, while you're on the Peloton. Absolutely. It keeps your mind active. And so if you're not inspired initially to go out and run in the morning, that comes later, but you are inspired to get to that next episode of that show, do it only when you're on the tread.
When you're first starting, sometimes you need somebody just to keep you accountable. If any of you out there are like thinking about starting to work out and you need somebody to talk to, let me know. Cause I if I can help you make a positive impact like that, I'm down. And you're never going to see me on the cover of Men's Fitness or anything like that, but I'm in a lot better place than I was. I can guarantee you that.
Well, we're talking a little bit about social media and the time trap that becomes. And Chris, you and I, we kind of cut our teeth on social media, especially in the beginning. In fact, all of us here, Chris Teeters and I, along with Brian, we have the Orthodontic Pearls Facebook group. That's kind of our claim to fame, so to speak. Chris, I know that you built your practice, Chris Feldman, you built your practice on social media very early on, as did I. We're very involved. We learned a lot from other colleagues on social media, but it can become this sort of trap or this wastage of time that can distract from other things. So I want you to talk to us a little bit, Chris, about how social media helped develop your brand, the benefits that it showed you, perhaps early on and maybe even today. And then also, like, where is that line drawn? At what point does it go from a tool for growth to a trap and a distraction from that same growth?
So yeah, social media, Facebook, especially when we were first starting, my office, a lot of our initial success was due to our dances and posts and posting pictures of the patients and things like that. I'm so grateful for that. I'm also grateful for a lot of my learning at first was in the Facebook groups. like your group and like all, countless other amount of groups. And I've met and made great friends with a lot of colleagues because of those groups. So I'm very thankful for that. I think that as time goes on, like it's all about like Taylor Swift says, it's eras, baby.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in a different era now, professionally and personally. Our office still does social media things. In fact, we just got our most seen video, which was just a bring random objects to work video that our team member thought of or saw it on TikTok trends and did it. So it's still a big part of our practice, but it's not a big part of my life. I have
Yeah.
nothing to do
Yeah.
with it unless they say,
Love
"Hey,
it.
Dr. Feldman, come get in this video." And personally, I'm off of social media. I think I just recently got some Meta glasses. Those are pretty cool, by the way. And
Hmm.
I think it reactivated my Facebook account somehow because for a while it was deactivated, but
I
I
think
don't
you
have
need
it
a
on my
Facebook
phone.
account for those glasses to work, don't you?
Correct. So I think it
Yeah.
reactivated my account whenever I got those glasses, but I never log on. I did one time when I was on vacation a couple months ago, and I was remembered why I didn't like it. And
Yeah.
so I'm off of all social media. You're not going to see me
Yeah.
on there, and it's made a huge positive impact on my happiness and just my attention to my family. I don't mess with it. I don't think it's necessary for me anymore. I'm glad I've got what I got out of it, and I still think for young orthodontists, there's so much knowledge on there.
Yeah.
But personally, I think it's a terrible thing for people, especially if you have children. It's a terrible thing for children.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What probably the most impactful book I've read in a long time. It's The Anxious Generation. I
Mm-hmm.
would think
Yeah.
that every parent should absolutely 100% put that book next in your lineup, read it. It's fascinating how damaging these screens are. We know screens are bad, but it dives into why. It's not an opinion, it's all data based.
I
Um,
love it.
Screens will mess up your children. And if they see you on a screen all the time, then they're going to want to be on a screen all the time. So,
Yeah.
and look, I don't have all the answers. Parenting, it's scary. You never know if you're doing it right, but like I say, I'm fairly certain that early screens and social media is wrong. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's just personally, it's even group texts. I've dropped out of a lot of group texts with dear friends of mine, and it's not because I don't love them. It's because I do love them, and I have a problem that if I'm on a group text, I'm going to want to read all the messages, and it's a
Yeah.
time suck. And
Yeah.
it's like I love my friends, but I think number one, my true friends, I'm going to talk to them. I'm going to keep in touch with them without a group text. And number two, I love my family even more, and my kids need me more than they need me to debate on fixed retainers or whatever it might be.
How do you feel on fixed retainers, by the way?
That's a whole other podcast. But
You guys can go search the forums for that. Chris and I have gotten into it over the fixed retainers in the past.
I was right,
Yeah.
but we're
I'm
gonna.
teaming
I can get deep sometimes with that
Yeah.
stuff, but it's this new. I guess it's not so new, but this mindfulness trend, right? I don't use. I don't do the meditation or the yoga or whatever anal tanning. I don't know what they do, but I have been working on being absolutely present with what I'm doing. And I have a very bad habit. Like, the gifts that orthodontics has afforded me, I can take these awesome trips and
Mhm.
vacations and concerts. And I love that. I love that so much. That's a big part of my life. Um, but I found for a little while, I found myself like only looking forward to my next big thing. When's my next vacation? When's my next
Yeah. Mhm.
concert? When's my next trip? But that made me forget about how amazing my life is every day.
Yes.
Yeah.
When I go to work, I'm literally doing what I dreamed about for years.
Yeah.
So like, man, even if I'm on vacation for half my life, that would be an obnoxious amount, but that means if I'm only looking forward to that, that means what the other half of my life is trash. No, like every single day is a blessing. And it's ironic that, you associate me with the Dave Goggins and the comfort crisis. And I've had an easy life compared to so many people. I've had, I've had to be very resilient. I want to have that quality, um, but I haven't had to be.
Yeah.
I want to be ready to be, because I know, man, I take a step back. Um, I take a step back and look at how amazing life is. And I never want to take that for granted. And I want to enjoy all of that. Um, but I want to make damn sure that if everything that we think is special and that we think we're lucky to have, that's taken, you know, can we still be happy? Can we still be ourselves?
Yeah.
For me, as long as my family's healthy, as long as I'm healthy, I'm going to be happy. The rest is just fluff. It's fluff that I'm going to enjoy, that I'm going to do to the best of my ability. But like, I don't want that to be at the core of my happiness.
We were at a meeting a couple months ago, and this one is like 20 times the level of excitement of the meetings that we've gone to in the past. It's just a really fun meeting. It's a nice thing to do for staff just because it brings us all closer together, and they only know the energy inside my own office. And once we get all these peers all together, the energy level is just madness. I have some Gen Z staff, and they're really excited about meeting the braces guy. And overall, they're excited about the party and mechanical bull and the food. And it's really fun. And they go home really excited and ready to tackle on the day with brand new ideas and pearls and a lot of fun stories. You know, I've been practicing for 18 years, and I'm definitely in need of some great pearls. And every lecture, I got 10 to 20 pearls from each one.
Be sure to log on to orthodonticpearls.org today to register for one of our last remaining seats at the Mother of Pearls Conference this October 10th through 11th at the Kennedy Space Center. Register at orthodonticpearls.org today.
You know, and I think that sometimes there are events in life that humble us a little bit, or sometimes we cross a line, we go a little bit too far, and we risk losing something that's really important in the pursuit of something that's not. And I think in those moments, it's an opportunity to reset. And I just read a book recently. It was called When Breath Becomes Air, I think. Did you guys see that? Chad Arthur posted about that on Orthodontic Pearls. This is one that I'd highly recommend. I wasn't planning on talking about it today, but it's written by this neurosurgeon, Paul Kalanithi. I don't know if that's the correct pronunciation, but this is a guy who worked his entire life and was extremely successful academically. I mean, neurosurgery is literally brain surgery. It's one of the hardest. There's jokes about it. It's like it is the prototypical smart guy profession. Not only did he do neurosurgery, but he went into neuroscience, which is the most prestigious of the neurosurgeon pathways. At any rate, this guy, he died of lung cancer at age 36. Okay. And so he was diagnosed before graduation, and everything that he thought was important to him was going to be lost. And he in the book, he talks about multiple concepts, but one of these is the amount of time that we have left. And he was trying to get his doctor to tell him how many years do I have left, and she wouldn't tell him. And he was just thinking like, well, how many years I have left kind of changes how I want to pursue the rest of my life. If I have a day left, I'm going to spend that at home with my family. If I have 10 years left, I'm going to continue to pursue academics so I can make something of my life.
Right.
And the point here, and I highly recommend the book. I'm not going to do it justice in this summary, but the point is, when you're faced with something tragic, it really forces you to evaluate what is important to me. And he did decide eventually that it was his family. And partially also he recognized that his profession was more of a calling than it was just a job. So during those final years, he actually invested a lot into his profession and helping people and trying to perform surgery for as long as he was able to. And then finally, in his very final years, he wanted to leave behind this book, this legacy. So he focused all of the energy that he had in sharing his story. And it's a fascinating one. He actually died before the book was finished. And then his wife does a little afterword, which explains the whole story and, says that in a way, that unfinished book is sort of a symbolic of the concepts that Paul is trying to say, is that we're not ever finished. It's never the end. And we're not going to complete our legacy in our lifetime here, and investing in your family, investing in helping people, whatever your calling is. And at any given point of your life, that could be a different thing. So,
Right. And my thing is, I'm just trying to enjoy all of it. Right.
yeah,
This guy wasn't a neurosurgeon, but a wise philosopher out of New Orleans, Louisiana. He was with Cash Money Records. His name was Manny Fresh. He said, I got cake like every day is my birthday. It was on a rap song. Let me know if you're familiar with it. But that's a profound statement, right? Like I want to celebrate every day like it's my birthday. Every day. If I'm on vacation, cool. If I'm at work, cool. If I'm hanging out with my kids, cool. If I'm running, cool. I'm going to take it all in and enjoy all of it. So, I just want to be as present as possible.
I love that. I think we're just trained, since school and residency that happiness is in the next thing, right? And we're always looking for that next thing. And it ain't, it'll never be where you are if you're always chasing the next shiny object. So I love that, right. Chris, how you say, every day is your birthday and every stage is beautiful. Like I get chills some days when I think about the days I had my head in a book in dental school, just, being hard to try to become an orthodontist and what it felt like to finally become one, and then you get there and you're like, that's it. Like, what's next? Right. So I love the idea. Like every single day, love the run, love the work.
In school, that was what epic times for me. I know it was fun as it was epic. And it's just like, I agree with what you're saying. We got to just every single day. It's a blessing. Enjoy it. And I've taken that approach with my practice. My practice has been on a plateau for about 4 years, and it's at a great level where I never thought we would get. Yeah. And I genuinely do not want it to grow. I mean, I think we can be a little more productive by being more efficient, but I don't want to work more than I do. I don't need to make more personal money than I do. I'd love to see my team members make more money. But that's it. I don't have, there doesn't have to be more offices. There doesn't have to be more money. And honestly, I see some people out there just crushing the game, and I hope that that's their genuine love. If they really love what they do, then that's great. But if they're doing it just for the money or just for the prestige or whatever, then I don't think that's going to find them happiness. So, and then look, when I see that, sometimes I get a little inkling in me. I'm like, man, I could open up some more practices. I could hire some associates. I could work more days. I could do this. But for what? I'm living every single thing I dreamed about. Everything. So why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
So I think defining where you want to be, and look, if you want to get something, go get it, and don't let anything stop you. If you know in your heart that that's what it is, that's one thing I would always want to hang my hat on. If I say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
But if it's just to be up there with the Joneses, that's not gonna bring happiness. Find what's truly gonna bring you happiness.
Human beings are strivers. That's a fundamental aspect of human nature, is that we strive for things, and we seek after things. So it's not, goals certainly are important, but I always think that goals have to be in service of your values, and they have to be genuine to something greater. So, for example, depending on your stage in life, we all were at a point where money was the primary target. We could not reach any of our other goals. Absolutely not. It's a stage of life. And I think that everyone needs to go through that. And I could not afford a family, or to take care of my family, or to provide my children with the opportunities that they have, unless I made something of myself first. So, and those times we had our faces buried in a book, there was a purpose for that. But then once the goal has been reached, the problem with money is that you can always have more. And once you've made enough that your goals have been made, more money is not going to make your life better, and it can actually distract or take time away from things that you worked so hard to achieve.
Two books that I read on this subject that I think are also must reads. Number one is Die with Zero. And number two is Buy Back Your Time. Absolutely incredible books.
Haven't read them, but I can imagine. It
do it. Put it on your list. They're great.
I just added to the list. I'm going to listen to it.
I find a lot of orthodontists, there's some people, no matter how much money they make, they're always going to overspend.
Yeah.
But a lot of people overwork and underspend.
Yes.
And then they lie to themselves and tell them that they love it. No, look, I love work. I love orthodontics. It's a passion of mine. It's one of my passions. I love it 3 days a week. And that's how much I do it. 3 days a week, and I don't do it anymore because I know if I work I like to be busy, but if I work at the pace I'm at 4 days, I'm not going to be happy.
Yeah.
Actually, when I went down to 3 days a week, I thought that I was going to use those other 2 days to rest. Like, there's no rest.
No.
I'm still me. I'm just working really hard at other stuff. I stay more busy on the days that I'm off work. Right. So I'm working, on those days, I'm running, hanging out with my wife. I'm doing jujitsu. I'm going to the shooting range. I'm moving. And I love both. I love if somebody told me tomorrow, like, okay, you have all the money you need, you don't need to do orthodontics anymore, I'd be really sad. I love it.
I would too. Yeah.
But I don't want to overdo it. And I don't want to, like I say, when the time comes that I know I'm 100% financially independent, I'm still going to work, but because I want to.
Yeah. Chris, you're obviously a man of action. And I think that one of your biggest strengths is that you implement, you take it from mindset and actually act. There is a tendency, of course, that we end up reading a lot of these books and blogs and we talk a lot, talk the talk. But then I think of that like, it's almost like mindset porn. We're like constantly reading about, like David Goggins or Comfort Crisis. And then like, there is a tendency that once we've read about it and we've kind of solved the problem in our head, then like the stress that gets us to act is gone. And then we just kind of sit on it. So what advice would you give to someone out there who's stuck in that sort of like they're stuck in the mindset, reading about it, but they haven't quite acted? Are there any tips that you could give to someone in that situation?
So I'm no Glenn Krieger, but I'm on pace to read about my goal this year was to read 30 books. I'm on like 20 something. Mm-hmm. I understand sometimes I get a little burnout and I change up the genre. Sometimes it might be physical. Sure. Sometimes it might be business. Sometimes it might be mindset. So I think always change it up. Number two, like I know with our mindset, like we want to remember everything. You're not going to remember it all. There's not going to be a test on it. And a lot of these are just opinions. So it's just the author's opinion. You don't have to agree and implement every single thing that they do. You can say, no, I totally disagree with that. And that's okay. Mm-hmm. So I just try to take a couple little things from each book. You're not going to remember everything. But if you take the overarching message from each book, it can help you mold your life. Because these are all smart people that put a lot of thought into things. So, read something you like. And listen to your peers. If there's people that you like, ask them what they've been reading. And look, if you get burnt out, take a break. It's okay. Take a few week break, But I do think, look, if you add up the amount of time that you're driving in your car by yourself, probably over 300 or 400 hours a year at worst. If you commit to listening to audio, I say read. I never read pages. I always listen on audiobooks.
Yeah.
So if you commit to listening to audiobooks while you're in your car by yourself, 300 hours a year on any topic, you will become an absolute expert in that topic. Literally. That's college degree type stuff, over the years. So, figure out what you want to listen to. I think it just serves your time better than listening to just the radio. And look, some days you had a hard day. Maybe you need just silence. Maybe you need just the radio. Listen to your mind. Listen to your body. Mm-hmm. But if we're talking about books, I can tell you the best books I've read in the last year or two. The Anxious Generation that I mentioned, must read for parents. Grit, must read for human beings, especially parents. Buy Back Your Time and Die with Zero. And I just recently read this one called The Relentless Elimination of Hurry. It was an easy, fun read. The author's a pastor, and I'm not like super duper religious. As I get older, I find myself becoming more spiritual. But he talks about Jesus in there. But whether you're a Christian or non-Christian or religious or not, he talks about him more as a historical figure and as a role model as a happy person. So I think anybody can learn from it. That was an amazing read, easy, quick read, or listen as I do.
Fantastic. Adding these to my list right now. Well,
and for any runners, Born to Run is an incredible story.
That's an older one.
That's a
I read
page
that one in high school.
Born to Run.
Yeah, that was from.
Well, there might be two of them. This one's
Okay.
by Chris McDougall.
It was about the tribe down in, I think it was South Africa. Yeah, with the barefoot runners and
Mexico.
That's right. Okay.
Well, it's amazing. It's amazing.
I remember that one. It was like about how we're biologically engineered for running. That's how we evolved, with like just the fact that we have a butt, like to counterbalance the weight, and that was where the barefoot running trend eventually came from.
Yeah. Well, it's talking about how like humans have been carnivores for like a million years. I don't know how many years it was, but they found out that like arrowheads and like weaponry were only there for a small part of the time that humans were known carnivores.
Yeah.
So like the only way they could have killed meat is by running them down. They ran down.
We weren't the fastest, but we had endurance.
It wasn't by sprinting. It was out enduring. And we have more endurance than a horse.
Yeah.
They say the fastest, and I think there's a little bit of pushback to this, but they say the fastest human 100-mile runner can outrun the fastest horse 100-mile runner.
Yeah.
I know it's hard to believe, but I think they've had some races that kind of, there's a little bit of pushback on that. So I don't know if it's 100% true, but it's the fact that it's a debate is pretty fascinating.
Well, this has been awesome, Chris. I really appreciate your time. We're towards the end of our show here, so I want to finish up with a couple of rapid fire questions. You ready for these?
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's do it. What's one thing you've changed your mind about in the past 5 years? Fixed retainers, perhaps?
Negative, but I will take it back to some ortho stuff that maybe we can think about and learn from and talk about.
Sure.
I used to be a little bit dogmatic in that, like for full braces, you wait until all the permanent teeth are erupted, unless there's like an impaction or whatever, because it's more efficient. Because I'm big on efficiency, right? And you never want to trick the patient into starting earlier just so you can get a start. So for a while I was kind of leaning like, no, we don't start until then. But like, I've noticed there's a lot of like 12, 13-year-old boys and girls who are like just embarrassed of their teeth and they still have some baby teeth left and they're about to go to middle school and they're embarrassed. And so like, what do? You're not going to do two phases because they're a little too close to do two separate phases, but it's okay to start the case early. Just be transparent with the parent and say, like, look, this is earlier than I normally start. Your kid's going to be in braces for longer, so I definitely don't want to push you in this direction. But if you think Johnny would smile, have a more confident smile quicker, like, it's okay to get him started, and maybe you just bind the uppers or, just some of the front teeth just to get them to happy before you do the full bonding. And it's not efficient, right? You're going to have to see them for a longer period of time. Maybe you space out the visits longer as long as they're brushing their teeth well. But that's something I used to be like, no, we got to wait till everything's in. But now I'm just like, well, how does Johnny feel? Yeah. Does he want to start now and be in braces longer? If he doesn't care, let's wait.
There's a patient behind those teeth as well, or a person behind those teeth.
Right. So, I try not to be dogmatic, except that aligners suck and so do the Falcons.
All right. We won't touch that one as we're at the end of the show. We don't have enough time to get into all that. But let's ask you about your favorite recovery tool after a brutal workout.
I'm not great with this. I just think common sense, listen to your body, rest. I use Bear Nutrition Performance, Bear Performance Nutrition, whatever brand that is. I use a lot of the electrolytes so that I don't have to recover. I take in 4 scoops a day. It's a good amount of electrolytes, but it keeps me from cramping. If it's going to be a hard workout, I do the G1M. It's like a carb and electrolyte drink. Other than that, I try to stay away during the weeks if I'm not on vacation or a trip. I try to just eat a balanced meal. I try to stay away from added sugars. Anything with added sugars in it, I just don't mess with it.
Fair enough.
And it keeps me happy and feeling good.
Chris, what is the best piece of advice you've ever received, and who did you receive it from?
I don't remember who told me. It's probably some Cajun guy, but he said, look, if you're going to eat spicy crawfish, make sure you wash your hands real well before you go to the bathroom. Trust me. You can imagine, but you want to listen to that advice. I don't think you go against it more than once. No.
Very, very good. Relevant for any of you guys down in the South.
But no, on a serious note, back to what Anil had told me, working out in the morning changed my life. And I try to always remember, maybe it was my dad who taught me, but maybe more by example, like there's always time to do what's right.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great one. I love that. All right, Chris, final question. What is your go-to hype song before a tough day?
Lil Wayne, Right Above It.
Nice.
I'm at the top when Only Heaven's Right Above It. That song just hits me right in the feels. Lil Wayne's a New Orleans rapper. That song, the instrumental, it's loud, it's upbeat, it's positive, it's confident. It gets me hyped.
Nice.
So yeah, I love it.
Well, hey man, it's been a privilege to talk with you as always. You've built something really special there in New Iberia in Youngsville. I know your words today are going to inspire a lot of listeners. And
I hope they do. That's why I'm here.
We appreciate it, Chris. And, I appreciate the friendship too. We've been growing up together, so to speak, in this orthodontic profession. And it's like, it's just awesome to see your success and, get to share in it too. So I look forward to many more years of growth and really excited about what the future holds for all of us. And
you too, man. I know I haven't been on your Facebook forum as much and things like that, but much love and respect to you guys and what you're doing. And I definitely think it's transformative in the profession, and I applaud you guys for your tireless work here. And I definitely think it comes from a selfless place. So thank you for what you've already done for me and what you're doing for so many other colleagues. It truly means a lot, and I know it takes a ton of work. So thank you.
Of course. Well, thanks, man. Well, if you're out there listening and you enjoy this episode, please be sure to subscribe and leave us a review. It does help us keep these conversations going.
And if you own a business, whether it's consulting, a product, or a service geared toward orthodontists, we'd love to talk. With a following of over 9,500 members, our community is the largest orthodontist-only Facebook group in the world. Sponsorship opportunities for this podcast or our group start as low as $150. Please reach out to orthodonticpearls@gmail.com if you have interest in sponsoring a future episode.
Thanks for tuning in, guys, and we will catch you all next time.
Last year, we were fortunate enough to come as well, but I feel like that really set the bar high. And so then this year, I feel like everybody was super, super excited and thrilled to hear that we were going to be able to attend again. Like I said, the energy of this conference is just so lively. There's so much to do. Every detail is so thoroughly thought through that it's a blast. I was clinical. I kind of transitioned to admin. I feel like in every single lecture, no matter what team you're on, you can take something away from it. But then it's a perfect balance of we're here to learn, and then also we're rewarded and get to do fun things. Especially at Collins, we all have really, really close bonds with each other. But I feel like this experience definitely allows us to make those relationships and bonds even stronger, because here we get to have fun and really expand on those relationships. Dr. Collins always puts on a great show. At the clinic, we're so used to, our routines there, but it's fun to see him kind of just be able to let loose and just truly have a blast. Last year was USS Midway. This year was the house party at Dr. Teeters' house. And next year is at the US Space Center.
Be sure to log on to orthodonticpearls.org today to see our lineup of speakers and incredible events we have planned for you. We'll be partying under a space shuttle. It will be absolutely incredible with music from the world's only all-orthodontist band, Relapse. If you've seen Relapse before, you should definitely come back again, because every show is different, and this show will be out of this world. Register at orthodonticpearls.org today.